The wind on the mining moon was sharp, dry, and full of dust. Machines screamed in the background as they drilled into the hard black rock. The sky above was a dull grain of her day, never night. Just a strange twilight. Ronan wiped the inside of his cracked helmet. The glass visor was scratched so badly, he could barely see through it. But he kept working. That's all anyone could do on Moon K-17 work. Sleep. Try not to die. He was one of the last humans left on the mining outpost. Others had left when the pay dried up. But Ronan had debts, so he stayed. His shift ended late, tired and cold. He walked back toward the barracks. As he passed the edge of the scrapyard, something made him stop. A sound, soft and quick, like breathing. He turned his head. Between two broken power cores, he saw movement. "Who's there?" Ronan asked. His voice was rough from breathing dust for too many years. Silence. He stepped closer, and then he saw her. She was small, not more than a child. Thin arms, big, glowing eyes. Her skin was pale blue and looked bruised. Her hair was white and tangled. Full of dirt, she didn't wear a suit, just an old blanket wrapped around her like a dying bird's feathers. An alien, a child. She looked terrified. Ronan raised both hands slowly. "It's okay. I won't hurt you." She didn't move. Her eyes blinked twice. Ronan looked around. No guards, no drones, no cameras watching. "What are you doing here?" He whispered, "You'll die in this cold." Still no answer.
Right.
She just stared. He looked down at his pocket, had one thing left. A ration bar. Half-eaten. It wasn't much, but it was all he had for the night. His stomach growled, but he ignored it. He pulled the bar out and slowly unwrapped it. Her eyes locked on it. He knelt, held it out in the dirt. "Take it." For a long moment, she didn't move. Then, like a ghost afraid of light, she reached forward with both hands and grabbed it. She didn't eat right away. She held it like it was gold. "Eat," Ronan said gently. She took a small bite, then more. Her eyes never left his face. "What's your name?" he asked, though he knew she wouldn't understand. Still, she stared. A little tear rolled down her cheek, mixing with the dust. She was just a kid, just like his daughter would have been if she'd survived. Ronan sat back against the metal wall. The cold didn't bother him now. Something else filled his chest. Not pity, not sadness. Something like purpose. For 20 minutes they didn't speak. They didn't need to. Finally, she stood up slowly. Her legs were weak. But she looked at him one last time, and she touched her heart, and pointed to his. Then she ran. "Wait," Ronan called. But she was fast. Within seconds, she disappeared into the mist and junk piles. He stood up, blinking. Had he imagined her? No, the empty wrapper in the dirt proved she was real. He walked back to the barracks quietly. Other workers sat around metal heaters, drinking cheap synth tea and laughing at crude jokes. No one noticed he was late. Ronan sat down, silent. "You look like you saw a ghost," one man said. Ronan didn't reply. He didn't sleep much that night. The next morning, Ronan went back to the same spot. Nothing. He searched the yard, even the old storage units, nothing. He checked the cameras, but one had been broken. Of course, 3 days passed, still nothing. On the 4th day, security announced a strange ship had landed briefly in the night. No transponder code, no ID. It had entered and left quickly. Smugglers, someone muttered. But Ronan knew better. He knew what that ship came for. Not gold, not minerals. Heard the girl with glowing eyes. He stared up at the sky, his cracked helmet in his lap, and whispered, "Be safe." He didn't know her name, but she had taken a piece of his heart, and far, far away. She carried it with her. *5 long years had passed since Ronan last saw the little alien girl. Moon K-17 was now a ghost station. The mining operation had shut down, and the company abandoned it. Most of the workers had left, except for Ronan. He stayed until the power failed and the wind came in through broken walls. Only then did he take the last shuttle out. He lived quietly on a broken-down cargo ship parked on a trade route. The ship didn't fly anymore. It was just a cheap place to sleep. Ronan took small repair jobs now, fixing junk other people didn't care about. A cracked drone lens, a melted power cable, crushed servo arm. He did it all, just to keep moving, just to keep breathing. But every now and then, when he looked up at the stars, he remembered her, that little alien girl, blue skin, white hair, eyes like glowing frost. He had nothing that night. And still, he gave her everything he could. He never told anyone. No one would have cared anyway. One rainy night on the repair dock, Ronan sat with a tool in one hand and a rusted part in the other. The radio played soft static. The customer was late. He was just about to lock up when a shadow appeared in the doorway. "Sorry, we're closed," Ronan called. The figure didn't move. He looked up and stopped breathing for a second. The figure stepped into the light. She wasn't the little girl anymore. She was taller now. In a dark silver cloak, her hair pulled back like a soldier's, but her eyes, the same glowing eyes, met his. Ronan stood up slowly. "You?" She said nothing at first, just looked at him, as if memorizing his face. "I wasn't sure you'd still be alive," she finally said, her voice calm and soft, but with power behind it. "But I searched." Ronan stared. His voice was caught in his throat. "You speak my language? I learned it for you." He didn't know what to say. She stepped closer. "You saved my life," she said. "I came back to repay the debt." Ronan shook his head, stunned. "You don't owe me anything." "In my world," she replied, "a life saved is a bond made. You gave me your last food. You gave me hope when no one else saw me. It is not forgotten." He felt like the air had left the room. "You were just a child," he whispered. She tilted her head. "I still remember the taste of that ration bar." They sat together in silence for a while. She didn't eat. He didn't speak much. The storm outside made the ship creak. Then she said something strange. "I was adopted by a royal family. They gave me a name, title, but I never stopped looking for the man who gave me kindness." "You found the wrong guy," Ronan said quietly. "I'm just a tired old mechanic." "No," she replied. "You're the only one who treated me like I was alive." He looked at her again, really looked. She wore a badge on her cloak, an alien crest, with 3 stars and a curved wing. He had seen that before, on noble ships. "High-ranking. Important. You're royalty now," he said. "I'm here on my own," she replied. "This isn't about power. This is personal." Suddenly, a quiet beep came from her wrist device. She stood up fast. "They're tracking me," she said. "I shouldn't have stayed this long." "Who's tracking you?" Ronan asked, worried. "My own people. Some of them do not agree with my bond to a human. They believe you corrupted me." Ronan frowned. "I gave you half a ration bar. To them, that is weakness," she said. "To me it was strength." She turned toward the door but stopped. "There's more coming, Ronan, more than you know. This meeting, it's only the beginning." She reached into her cloak and handed him a small silver cube. "When the time comes, activate this. It will call me." Before he could ask anything else, her cloak shimmered and she was gone. A transport ship flew overhead moments later, vanishing. Into the clouds, Ronan stood alone in the doorway. The storm had stopped, but something new had started. 3 weeks passed after the night she came and disappeared. Ronan kept the small, silver cube hidden in a drawer under loose wires and broken screws. He didn't tell anyone, not the dock guards, not the traders, not even the old station cat that slept near his bench. He tried to forget her again, but something had changed. That girl, the one he once fed, was now someone powerful. And her words echoed in his mind. "This is only the beginning." On a slow morning, Ronan walked out of his ship to get scrap metal from the trade market. The sky above was dark, but not with clouds. It was ships. Massive ones, black, silent, and shaped like daggers. The crowd near the docks stood frozen, staring up. Most of the ships in this zone were old cargo freighters or rusted miners. But these were war-class vessels, No one recognized their markings. No flags, no signals, just silence. And then one ship broke away from the rest, sleek and silver. It drifted slowly down, toward Ronan's dock. He dropped the metal in his hands. The crowd backed away. A message blinked on every screen around the market. One human mechanic, known as Ronan. Prepare him for arrival. Gasps filled the air. Someone whispered, "What did you do, old man?" Ronan stood frozen. He had done nothing except one thing. He had fed a hungry girl. The silver ship touched down without a sound. Its ramp hissed open. The air shimmered, and armored guards stepped out tall. Silver-skinned aliens with helmets shaped like bird skulls. They moved like trained predators. Behind them walked a woman. No helmet this time, just her face. The crowd went silent as her glowing blue eyes scanned the dock and stopped on Ronan. She walked straight toward him. The guard stayed back. Ronan tried to speak, but she spoke first. He kept the cube. He nodded slowly. Didn't know what to do with it. She gave a soft smile. Did exactly what you were supposed to. Wait, without asking. She took his hand. Ronan felt hundreds of eyes watching. Some angry, some scared, some jealous. She turned to the crowd and spoke in their language. Her voice calm but sharp. This human once gave me his last food when I had no name, no family, no worth. Today, I return not as a child, but as Commander Asera of the Saran royal line, and I have come for him. Murmurs broke out. She's a royal. She's bonded to a human. She can't do that. But no one moved. The guards behind her stared down anyone who even breathed too loud. Ronan whispered, "What are you doing?" She looked him in the eyes. "I'm keeping my promise. Now I need your help." That evening, she took Ronan inside her ship. The inside was nothing like human ships. The walls glowed with soft blue light. The floors were warm. The air smelled of something sweet and strange. They sat in a private chamber. "You said others didn't agree with you coming here?" Ronan said quietly. "They don't," she replied. "I've broken protocol. Royals do not form life debts with outsiders, especially humans. Then why risk it?" She leaned forward. "Because something worse is coming. A war. A quiet one, fought not with weapons, but with minds, codes, and old secrets." Ronan raised an eyebrow. "You think I can help with that? You're human," she said. "That alone is enough." She stood and pressed her palm to the wall. A hidden panel opened. Showing a star map, she pointed to a glowing red spot. "Someone is activating Lost Earth, tech powerful. Ancient machines built before your fall. My enemies want to control it before you even know it exists." "And what do you want?" Ronan asked. "I want to give it back to your kind. With you beside me." He blinked. "Me? I'm a junk mechanic. You were a savior once," she said. "You still are." He looked down at his hands, dirty, calloused, trembling, and then back at her. "Fine," he said. "But I don't wear robes, and I don't bow to royals." She smiled again. "Then we'll make our own rules." Just as Ronan thought things couldn't get stranger, a loud alarm rang through the ship. She touched her ear. "Speak," a guard's voice replied, tense. "Enemy scout ship detected. They've followed your trace, Commander." "Orders," Sarah turned to Ronan. "No more hiding," she said. "They want to erase my debt to you. Let them come." Ronan nodded once. "Let's show them what kindness can become." As they moved to the command deck, Asera whispered to herself in her native tongue he doesn't know yet. But the machine only answers to him. The alien ship flew through a dark stretch of space called the Silent Band, a place where sensors didn't work, and ships disappeared without a trace. It was quiet. It's quiet. Ronan sat in the main chamber, his hands resting on the soft blue armrest of a seat, far too elegant for a mechanic like him. He didn't understand why the walls hummed with music, or why the floor lit up wherever Asera walked. She stood across from him, facing a large glowing window. Stars moved slowly behind her. "Still haven't told me why I'm really here?" Ronan said. Asera didn't turn. "You saved me once. It was more than food. It gave me reason to live. Till I return your gift. I don't want gold, Ronan said. You won't get gold, she replied, finally turning to face him. You'll get power, whether you want it or not. She pressed her palm to a silver panel. The floor opened. From below, a black orb rose floating. Between them, strange symbols moved across its surface. Ronan leaned forward. What is that? Ancient human tech, she said. Recovered from a battlefield near the Orion Tiers. No alien can activate it. She stepped aside. I want you to try. Ronan blinked. Try what? Touch it. She nodded. Place your hand on the surface. He hesitated. This thing isn't going to explode, is it? If it doesn't accept you, it will do nothing. But if it does? Ronan sighed, stood, and stepped forward. He placed his hand on the orb. Nothing happened for 5 seconds, then the orb lit up. Soft gold light pulsed. Under his fingers, the symbols turned into a language he could understand. A screen appeared in the air. A single line flashed. Human signature confirmed. Awaiting commands. Ronan stepped back. What the hell? Sarah smiled softly. It responded to you. Just like I hoped. He sat down again, staring at his hand like it had changed. You knew this would happen? I believed it would, she said, because it was made by your kind, long before your fall. Then why not give it to Earth's command? She sat beside him, because they would weaponize it, turn it into something cruel, just like the others did. Ronan stayed quiet. Asera looked at him, her voice suddenly more gentle. Not all gifts are easy, Ronan. Some feel like chains, but this is something I cannot carry alone. Why me? He asked. There are better humans out there, maybe, she said. But they didn't feed a starving alien child with nothing left in their pocket. There was a pause. The lights dimmed. The stars outside changed. Suddenly, a hologram blinked on. A tall, alien figure appeared dressed in sharp red armor. A male voice boomed. Commander Asera, you've been warned. The debt you owe this human is forbidden by law. Release him more. Face exile. Ronan stood up. They tracked us? They always do, she replied. The voice continued. You are a daughter of the court. He is dirt. You bring shame. Ronan chuckled bitterly. Charming. Sarah's expression changed. She walked closer to the projection. No. I bring memory. I bring truth. And if exile is the price, so be it. It's a message cut out. She turned back to Ronan. They'll come soon. Not for you. For me. They'll try to erase everything. Ronan looked around. Then let's run. No, she said firmly. Let's stand. With what we've found. She opened a case on the wall. Inside was a suit, dark, flexible, lined. With glowing threads, she handed it to him. What is this? He asked. Your new armor? Built for a human? You're not just a mechanic anymore? He looked at the suit. I don't know how to be what you need. You don't have to know, she said softly. You just have to stay. He looked into her eyes. There was no fear, only trust. The ship changed direction. The orb floated back into its chamber. But before it closed, it spoke one more line. Human authority confirmed. Weapons unlocked. Guardian protocol ready. Ronan's heart beat faster. What is Guardian protocol? He asked. Asera smiled. Something only you can command. And something our enemies forgot existed. In the shadows of deep space. 3. Royal enemy ships turned their weapons toward Asera's vessel just as a forgotten Terran dreadnought, hidden beneath a dead moon, woke up and responded to Ronan's signature. The sky above the court of Orlan was never dark. It shimmered with soft violet light like a living painting. Towers of crystal curved into the clouds, and alien banners floated in the windless air. But today, that beauty felt cold, because Commander Asera had returned home with a human by her side, and the High Council was watching. Ronan stood inside the great hall, surrounded by glowing pillars and silent guards. He wore the suit Asera had given him. It fit perfectly, but felt strange on his old frame. Too clean, too advanced. He missed his dirty coveralls. Asera stood tall beside him, her long cloak flowing, like silver fire. Her head was held high, her voice calm. They faced a half-circle of alien leaders, tall, proud, and full of judgment. "State your reason for entering royal territory without council approval," one elder said. Asera didn't blink. "I have returned with the human who saved me. The one I now owe a life debt." Whispers filled the hall. One counselor slammed a crystal rod against the floor. "This is against tradition. A royal cannot bind herself to a lesser species." Another elder narrowed her eyes. "This human carries ancient tech, Earth-class war systems. If she's helping him activate such weapons, she could tip the balance of power." A young noble with golden skin laughed cruelly. "Perhaps she loves the creature." The hall gasped. Asera's jaw tightened, but Ronan, calm and quiet, stepped forward. He looked straight at the nobles. "I gave her food once," he said, his voice steady. "Not because she was royal, not because she was useful, but because she was cold, hungry, and alone." No one spoke. Ronan's voice rose. "And now she offers me everything. Power, protection, respect. But all I've wanted is for someone to remember what kindness costs." Silence. Then one elder leaned forward. "You wish to join our society? Stand by her side as equal?" "No," Ronan said. "I wish to stand by her side as myself." Another elder whispered. "He refuses to kneel, yet he speaks with more honor than most nobles." Asera placed a hand over her heart. "I claim my right. If the court disagrees, issue the proving." The nobles stirred. The proving was an ancient right. A challenge, one the court used to test those who dared defy tradition. One that could not be refused. By sundown, a crowd had gathered outside the grand arena. Alien nobles sat in silver thrones, whispering and waiting. Across the field stood Ronan, unarmed but armored in the suit she gave him. And from the opposite gate stepped Torvel, the golden noble who mocked them in court. He was twice Ronan's size, with claws on his gloves and pride in every step. "This is madness," someone whispered. "The human is old, weak. He won't last 2 minutes." But Ronan didn't flinch. He remembered fixing machines with broken hands. He remembered mining with broken tools. He remembered a child with glowing eyes. The signal rang. Torvel charged like a beast. Ronan stepped sideways, using the suit's balance tech to move quickly. He dodged the first blow. Barely the second hit him in the chest hard. He fell. The nobles laughed. Torval stepped closer, grinning. But Ronan's fingers brushed the inside of his glove. He whispered, "Guardian protocol, gauge," from above. The silver orb shot down like lightning. It stopped between the fighters and spun. The voice echoed across the arena. "Terran signature detected. Combat assist mode active." The orb lit up, casting a shield in front of Ronan. Torval's next strike bounced back, shocking him. Now the nobles fell silent. Ronan stood slowly. He didn't attack. He didn't need to. The orb followed him, glowing like a star. Torval backed away wide. Ronan looked at the crowd. "I didn't come to fight, but I won't run." Pause. Then the arena lit with sound. Not boos, not silence. Cheers later that night in the quiet chambers. Asera stood beside Ronan. "You didn't just pass their test," she said. "I didn't care about the test." He replied, "I just didn't want to kneel to a bully." She smiled. "They approved the bond. You are now honored among them." Ronan smirked. "Guess that means I can't go back to fixing junk now." Sarah stepped closer. "No, it means your journey just began." Far from the royal court, in a dark war chamber of the enemy fleet, a red-eyed commander growled at a screen. "Activate the signal. We were too late, but now we know who he is. And what sleeps beneath Earth's forgotten soil." Asterisk, the sun never set on the royal moon. That day it felt darker than ever. Inside the glass tower above the capital, Ronan looked down on the alien city. Tall spires, floating trams, glowing skies. All of it looked too perfect, too polished. He wasn't used to this. He was used to dirt, grease, broken things now. He was being called hero of the proving, but not everyone celebrated. Whispers spread through noble halls. He's too old. He's human. He's a threat. Some feared him. Others hated him. A few wanted him gone. Late one night, Sarah returned to their chamber, her face tense. "They've called a private test," she said. "What kind of test?" Ronan asked, rubbing his sore shoulder. "Not a fight? Worse, a trial of endurance in the glass path." Ronan raised an eyebrow. "That sounds delicate. It's a holy path," Sarah explained. "It climbs up the storm cliffs. No weapons. No armor, just your body in the climb. If you fall, you vanish into the clouds." Ronan smiled weakly. "So, a hike to death?" She didn't smile back. "They want to prove you're not worthy," she said, "that your win in the arena was luck. If you refuse, they'll revoke your honor." Ronan looked at his hands, calloused, tired, trembling. Then he nodded. "Fine. Let's give them a show." Dawn. The crowd gathered near the cliffs. The glass path shimmered in the rising light then. Narrow steps made of clear crystal, climbing into the sky like a floating staircase. Wind howled around it, sharp and cold. A noble called out, "Ronan of Earth." "Step forward." Ronan walked to the base. The steps looked impossible, some cracked, some missing, all slick with dew. One slip, and he'd fall hundreds of meters below. But Ronan didn't hesitate. He placed one hand on the first step, then the next. The climb began. Each step burned his legs. Each gust tried to throw him off. There were no rails, no ropes, only trust in his grip hand and himself. Voices echoed from far. "Below, he's too slow. He'll never reach the top." But Ronan didn't stop. He climbed like he fixed machines carefully, stubbornly, and one part at a time. Halfway up, the wind struck hard. His foot slipped. The crowd gasped. He grabbed a cracked edge just in time. Cutting his palm, blood dripped down the glass. He held still, breathing heavy. Clouds circled his boots. He looked down, then looked up, and kept going. At the final section, a storm rolled in. Lightning flashed. Rain began to fall sideways. The steps. Ahead shimmered with blue static. A test of the gods. Even Sarah whispered, "No one survives this far." But Ronan did not stop. His fingers were bleeding. His knees shook. Yet he kept climbing. Because in his mind, he wasn't climbing for power. He wasn't climbing for respect. He was climbing for that little alien girl who once sat in the dirt, starving. He was climbing for who he used to be, forgotten, invisible, broken. He was climbing for all the humans who were told they were nothing, and then he reached the top. He stood on the final step, arms shaking, chest heaving, but he stood. The storm cleared, and below the crowd, they bowed. Sarah rushed to meet him at the summit. Eyes were wide. She had never looked more proud. "You didn't fall," she whispered. He smiled, exhausted. "Not today." That night, inside the royal archives, Ronan's name was carved into stone. Not as a servant, not as a guest, but as its first human honor-bearer of the glass path. Some nobles left in protest, but many stayed. Many whispered. Many began to wonder. What else could humans become if even the weak ones won't fall? In the cold dark of deep space, the enemy commander stared at a replay of Ronan's climb behind him. A massive weapon buried in a stolen Earth colony powered up slowly. He turned to his lieutenants and hissed, "If that human reaches the Nexus, we're finished." The stars burned brighter than usual. Or maybe it just felt that way. Ronan stood at the edge of the royal sky platform, high above the planet. Below, lights from the capital blinked like fallen stars. Above him, the void stretched wide, waiting. He didn't feel like a hero. His muscles ached. His hands were still bandaged from the glass path climb. His body was old, tired, but something deep inside him was alive. For the first time in years, he stood without shame. Asara stepped beside him. She wore her ceremonial armor silver and deep blue, her royal crest shining bright across her chest, but her face wasn't cold. It was soft, kind. "They're waiting," she said quietly. He looked at her. "For what?" She smiled. "For you," he raised an eyebrow. "I'm no king. No commander. I fix broken things." Her voice lowered. "That's why they trust you. Because you don't pretend to be more than you are." He took a breath and stepped forward. Below, on the royal assembly floor, thousands of aliens stood in perfect formation. Nobles, soldiers, scholars, even enemies had come to witness what had never been done before. A single human was about to be named guardian of the starbound Pacton, ancient title once reserved only for the chosen bloodlines. But today, that rule would break. The elder voice stepped forward, his cloak sweeping across the marble floor. "Bring forth the one who carries the flame of forgotten kindness," he called. The platform moved downward, carrying Ronan into view. The crowd whispered in awe. No golden crown, no mighty weapons, just a tired old man in a simple dark suit. But behind him floated the ancient Terran orb, fully awake now. Its voice spoke across the plaza. Terran's signal. "Confirmed Nexus access authorized. Guardian bond complete." The air shimmered. A gate opened in the sky made of stars and memory inside. Lay the Earth Nexus, a long-lost command network that once controlled the strongest human systems across the galaxy. Only one voice could now open it. Ronan's. But before the gate, Asara stepped down from her position. Slowly, silently, she knelt. Before him, her silver cloak touched the ground. Her head bowed. Gasps rippled through the crowd. A royal, bowing to a human. Ronan froze. "What are you doing?" he whispered. She looked up at him. Her eyes glowed not with power, but with emotion. "This is not duty," she said. "This is honor. You saved me when I had nothing. You gave your food when no one saw me. And now I give you my voice, my future, my people, if you will have them." Ronan didn't speak. He just reached out and lifted her gently to her feet. "You were never beneath me," he said quietly. "You just needed someone to see you." The stars burned brighter now, because the Nexus opened. Streams of light poured into the sky as dormant. Terran satellites came online. Old stations. Forgotten weapons. Healing ships. Exploration drones, all rising, all answering one call, Ronan's, and from across the galaxy. Human colonies, long quiet, long isolated, began to stir. They received the signal. Hope returned to Earth. The alien empires, once dominant, now stood still. Not in fear. In respect, because one act of kindness, one broken man, one girl who remembered, it changed everything. Later, alone beneath the stars, Asara asked, "What will you do now?" Ronan smiled. "Build, fix, teach, help. It's what I do." "And if they ask you to lead?" He shook his head. "Don't want a throne. I want a workshop, near a window." She laughed softly, then, after a pause, added, "May I sit beside that window?" He looked at her and nodded. Across the stars, in the ruins of a forgotten Terran vault, a new signal awoke older than even the Nexus. A voice, distorted but strong, whispered, "If kindness has returned to the stars, then so must we." And deep underground, the first human eye, fleet thought destroyed centuries ago, began to stir.